Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Bobby Pominville and I'm your art reporter. Today we are covering the art of photography and many other subjects. And that's why I had to invite so many ladies here with me. I want to introduce you to, on my far right, Terry Butler. She's a wonderful photographer. Next to me is Missy Sparrow-Lean. She's a biologist at DNR. And on my left, Ginny Gaynor, photographer, Prairie enthusiast, and Marianne Derricks, photographer. So welcome to the show, and we're going to get busy talking about a wonderful project that you're all involved with. Let's start with Terry. Tell us about the Western Wisconsin Photo Club project of capturing the Western Prairie.
Well, it was a project that was proposed by one of our members back in 2016, Lori Moylanen, who is retired to out of state. But it was a great idea of capturing photos of our prairie landscapes and the flora and fauna found in those so that we could promote understanding about those landscapes and also produce high quality images that could be used by different organizations to promote the prairie landscape. Another thing that we had wanted to do was to end up with some exhibit pieces, which we did. And we organized a lot of group outings, teaching some of our members how to take the photos that we were looking for.
That's wonderful, and it's something that really touches me when you say that, because we are losing a lot of prairie land, and I know what wonderful photography you do. I've seen some of it, and I'm just really excited to learn about this project because I think we need it in Western Wisconsin. So thank you, Terry, for that. Missy, you are a biologist with the DNR.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you to tell us about Western Prairie Habitat Restoration Area. What does that mean?
So that's the DNR established a large landscape scale project back in 1999 in this part of the state. There's 4 of them throughout the state, actually, state of Wisconsin. Here, it's basically the western 2/3 of St. Croix County, and then a couple townships into Polk County is the boundary of the project. And the idea of the project was to protect and restore the native prairie that once used to be there. So we used to have, pre-settlement times, we had about a 200,000 acre prairie, contiguous prairie, one of the largest in the state actually. And most of that has been lost. And statewide we've got actually less than 1% of our native prairies left. So our idea was to try to protect, restore, and build on that prairie that used to be here. So a lot of our grassland bird numbers have really plummeted over years, and we need to restore some of that grassland for those birds and other wildlife species. The Western Prairie HRA, we grow, we're about halfway there, halfway to our goal. Our goal is 10% of the native prairie, so 20,000 acres is what we want to see permanently protected. And we do that through lots of partnerships with lots of different organizations. Fish and Wildlife Service is a huge partner with us. Then we work with the Land Trusts and lots of other prairie enthusiasts, the Photo Club, all kinds of different groups out there are helping us get the word out, at the very least to educate people on the importance of the prairies and why we should and need to be protecting them. It's been a really great project working with the Photo Club. I got to know Lori a few years ago and sat down with her and talked about things we could do to work together, and I'm in the process of putting some new brochures and posters and things together about the Western Prairie HRA. And Lori and I sat down and talked about, well, maybe this photo club could help out. So I thought that was an awesome idea. So I went to one of the photo club meetings and presented what the HRA was all about. And luckily for me, they took on the project. And they've done an incredible job, just amazing pictures from everything from little insects to bison to the birds and butterflies and flowers and everything in between. So yeah, it's been great. I'm really excited to use some of those photos in some of our upcoming literature and actually, if everyone's willing, share even maybe around the state with people that are interested in prairies, great prairie photos.
Perfect. Now that is just a marvelous idea, and I can tell you I fully support this project, And I'm looking forward, I've seen a few of the photos because it's on the website. But I'd like to see more, I definitely would. Ginny, as a photographer and member of the Prairie Enthusiasts, could you tell us about some of our local prairies and about that club?
Yes. So I fell in love with the Prairie when I first moved to Wisconsin, western Wisconsin, 30 years ago. We actually had remnant prairie on my site. So I began learning about it, and maybe about 20 years ago, the Prairie Enthusiasts started a local chapter in the St. Croix River Valley. And so that group's been amazing for our local prairies. Their mission is to protect, to manage, and to educate people about prairies. And they do a lot of their work on remnant prairies, but they also teach people about how to restore or plant a prairie in your home. And we have so many 2-acre, 3-acre lots here that are ideal for that kind of work on a home landscape. So I was really excited when the photo project came. I was a newer photographer, and so I saw my role as introducing some of the club members to these wonderful prairies in our area. And it was great for me because I got to be out with these people that had such amazing photography skills. So we went all over the WPHRA area. So we were on both private lands but mostly public lands. And we started the group out with some information from our website where they could actually print out maps and go on their own to sites. But some of the fun places we went, one was a public prairie in Somerset. We call it Somerset Prairie. Oh. It's managed and owned by both the town and the village of Somerset. It's a dry sand prairie with open rolling hills. There's a volunteer that mows trails out there, and we saw just beautiful things out there, beginning in spring with the blooming of the lupine and the puccoon out there. So that was really special. We went up to Standing Cedars. That's a land conservancy, and several of the parcels up there are open to the public. It's very diverse, that site. It's huge. I don't know how many, 1,000 acres or more probably. And that was a fun trip. We went to shoot the prairie smoke out there. We knew where one little patch of prairie smoke was, so that was a really fun day out there.
Where is it located?
So that's up in the Osceola area.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
okay, just north of here.
Yeah.
Good.
And a couple fun shoots where we did go and shoot with the Prairie Enthusiasts invited us to come and shoot a couple prescribed burns. And Terry, you were at one of those at
I was.
least,
That was
and
so
they
fun.
were really fun. And so we'll look.
I was amazed at the equipment that you had.
And it's hard when you're burning to get good pictures. You're so busy, you have to stay focused. So it was really nice to have club members come and get some close-ups of people working it, as well as the landscape shots of the burn itself.
Is that how you restore it partially?
Burning is very important.
It is a good thing.
It's
One of the best management tools we have for native prairies for helping to restore them as well as maintain them and keep them in check. Yeah,
Well,
very important.
I'm all for it. And, you know, those areas are close enough to Hudson. Is there anything closer to Hudson, or is it all taken over now?
Oh no, there's prairies here. Willow River State Park.
Oh, yes,
You know, just
yes.
drive down A, and
Okay.
there you go. Prairies on both sides of the road. It's really wonderful. Some are planted, some are restored. Sometimes we just bring fire in there and overseeding, and we can restore it in that way. We can get it in shape in that way.
Really? That's
Carpenter Nature Center owns a big chunk of land on the south side of Hudson that has a really nice restored prairie on it and a beautiful oak savanna they're in the process of restoring as well.
Wonderful. What good news. And I have to tell you, one of my schools was Hudson Prairie Elementary. And that school has really fostered the knowledge about the prairies, how to keep a prairie, how to restore it, like you're talking about today. And I know they had a little piece of land out by the school that they called the Prairie. And little, but very powerful, because those children were learning about it. And I love that part. All right, Mary Ann, as a photographer, would you please tell us about your interest in photographing birds? She's got the bird gene on.
Well, I have been interested in birds my whole life, really. And when this project came up, I realized that I hadn't seen some of the prairie birds. And part of that being that they are really hard to find. There isn't a lot of prairie left, and the other thing is that they're very elusive and secretive because they nest on the ground. They don't want to have anything close to them, and if you try to get close to them, they go right into the grasses. And so I thought it would be a good challenge to, first of all, find them, and second of all, to try to photograph them. And then as I was out doing that, I obviously was thrilled to see all the development of the prairie in terms of how it changed from week to week, all summer long and into the fall. Different things blooming, different grasses, colorful, different birds' behavior. And so it was something I expanded into the butterflies and the flowers as well. But I did manage to, after many trips, to get a lot of the prairie birds photographed, some of them being very tiny, like a sedge wren, that they make a sound and you know where they're at, but you can't see them. And then
Really?
finally,
I've never heard of that
finally
bird.
they'll just sort of pop out and pop back down. So
And then you have to get the picture.
you have to be ready for
I
that.
don't know how you do that.
Oh, it's fun.
It's the sedge wren, isn't it, that will
Stretch its legs. Yes.
stretch its legs, hang on to one piece of
grass.
grass with one leg, and hold on to a different piece
You've
with
got a
the other
great
leg.
picture of that, so, yeah.
We've got a photograph of that
Yeah,
in our
we do.
slideshow. It's when I first saw that photo, it was so comical. But
That is just such fun. I hope I get to see that someday. But what other kinds of birds? I think
Well-
I don't know a lot about birds because
Well-
I'm thinking about the regular ones I see.
Right. Well, I
town.
think when people maybe spend a little bit of time in the prairie, they're likely to see meadowlarks, and
Oh,
goldfinches are there, not because they nest there. Meadowlarks do nest in the grass, but the goldfinches rely on the thistle that grows in the prairie. The down on the thistle, as that goes to seed, that's what they build their nests with. And then when they raise their young, they come back and they eat the seed and they feed the seed. So they're very dependent as well on the prairie. But some of the lesser known birds are like the sedge wren, which is a very tiny, very cute little wren, and several types of sparrows, the
Yes.
clay-colored sparrow, the grasshopper sparrow, henslow. And there were some that I never did photograph, even though I could hear them and I knew where they were. They were never out in the open long enough or in good enough light. But, I just enjoyed every minute of it. It's something when I would get in the prairie and be watching for the birds on the flowers, time went very quickly. And so it was a very heavenly experience.
That's really
The Western Prairie HRA is one of the hot spots in the state for Henslow sparrows and for wild pheasant as well.
that
So
right?
yep. At one time, we were one of
That's
the
neat.
have the highest populations in anywhere in Wisconsin. So it's kind of neat. Yeah, we're very fortunate.
And the other thing we've had a lot more of in the last couple of years has been the dick thistle, which is also a prairie bird.
Okay.
In fact, most of the prairie birds are brown and white with a little bit of yellow on them, and that is pretty much the dick thistle and the meadowlark are the bigger ones, but there are a lot of smaller birds, and they tend to have those colors because they blend in to the prairie.
I just want to mention that we're going to try to put some of those pictures on the screen while we're talking about various things. And I know you've given me a lot to work with, so I really appreciate that. Oh, those are great. I just am so excited that the prairie's coming back and you're restoring it. Being from North Dakota, it's very important to me that we continue on this route. Now we're going to talk about a few other things. One thing is, where can we see some of this wonderful photography?
Well, we do have an exhibit going on right now I need to consult my notes
that's
here
fine.
because
Go right ahead.
right now we have an exhibit of 23 canvas prints at Westfield Hospital in their emergency area. They got a brand new space. It'll be there until about June 10th. And
Perfect.
I'll take my car and I'll go pick all those pieces up and deliver them to Croydale in Bayport.
Right.
We also are. We've also had an exhibit at Bellwyn Conservancy.
Okay.
We're replacing the prints that had been there all last year with huge poster-sized prints And I know they're hoping to have that ready for their big day, May 19th, with the bison release. They're having the 5K run. And we're going to have maybe some people from our club over there to guide people through the areas where the
Great.
photos are,
Now-
answer questions.
That's in Lakeland,
Right.
I found out, so we should tell our audience that. And by the way, in case you didn't know, Westfield's hospital is in New Richmond. I know a lot of people will recognize that. And of course, I've been to Croydale, so I know, and you mentioned Bayport. Now, this is such fun to talk about this, and I'm hoping we get some really good photos to go with the interview. But I just want to say, is there anything else that we can learn from this, or when might we see it again, or how long will this go on? I just don't know. Is it endless?
Well, you know,
It should be.
you know, no, it really should be. You know, I'm so glad that we took this as a project for our club.
Yes.
I think it's so important for us to really do what we can to maintain some of these areas for the future generations.
Yes.
There's been such a loss of habitat that different species require. I just think we need to do all we can. It is kind of a project that is winding down a little bit with the club, but it seems to have had a life of its own. I'm going to try to get the exhibit over to Stillwater Library. I'm going to shop that exhibit around just to be educational and besides beautiful. So, you know, that's what my plan is.
That's wonderful. I love that goal. Now, have you ever hit it at Hudson Hospital, or is that a little different plan?
Well,
You've been there.
there's a
I know.
possibility that we could
Yeah.
someday.
That would be nice. Too.
We do have an exhibit that for our club members, aside from the project. I mean, we do more photography
Yes.
than
Yes,
birds.
you have ongoing photography up there. I know that.
Right, and so I've got about 21 pieces of framed prints that are in my car right now. I can't go grocery shopping until I can deliver those next week. So we'll have an exhibit there for 3 months in the cafeteria area.
Nice. Thank you so much. Now, I have to be really careful because I've got a lot of ladies here, but Missy, would you like to add anything?
You know, I just really want to thank these guys for helping out our project area. There's just the fact that you're getting those great photos out that we can share with other people and helping to educate others is really important. And that's been a big part of my job as a HRA biologist, is to try to get people to understand why it's important to protect these prairies, and just by showing them great pictures and the neat animals and plants that are there is a big part of
Yes.
it. So another a good thing, and Ginny probably can talk more about this, is the Prairie Enthusiast has a Prairie Days in the summer, an event that they've held at Willow River State Park, and I think it's the
yes.
18th or 19th of August.
I'm not sure
You're
yet.
right
Yeah,
about that.
it's a Saturday in August. I forget the exact date. We can get that for you, but
You're right. They invite people to come to
yep,
that.
yep. So they're doing lots of great things in the area to promote prairies.
Great.
So yeah, it's been a great thing, and I really thank these guys for helping us out.
Oh, that's really nice of you, but I thank them too, and I'm going to thank them in a little while. But Ginny, anything you forgot to say that you want to add?
So no, just for people that are interested in prairies and want to learn more, check out the Prairie Enthusiast website. Look up
Yes.
our St. Croix Valley chapter, and I don't think we have our summer field trip schedule up yet, but it'll be up there soon with programs and field trips.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Then, Marianne, you're last, but I know you love talking about birds. So is there anything
Well,
more?
actually, I learned to love everything about the prairie. So I ended up taking a lot of photos in addition to birds. And I would mention that if you go to any of the events that the Prairie Enthusiasts have, that there's a little packet of note cards that they're using as a fundraiser, and they had asked me to donate photos for that, which I did. So that packet
good.
of note cards are all photos that I took for this
I'm
project.
so glad you told
So
us
be sure
about
to
that.
buy some.
Because I'm a bird lover myself, although I probably scare some of them away in my technique, but I really do like to attract birds. Well, such wonderful ideas. And it just really makes me thankful for all of you for promoting all of this, because it's really for the betterment of everyone, including those children. Many haven't seen a prairie, I'm sure. And I think about the more populated areas. I think we're pretty lucky around Wisconsin to live here. But I thank all of you for coming today. And Terry, thank you for kind of organizing this.
Well, thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. And I do want to thank all of you for watching the show today. I hope you've gotten some ideas on what to visit and how to kind of improve your learning on the prairie. I know I have today, and I've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it.